Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Network 27. I'm Alderman Walter Burnett, doing some heavy lifting over at the Children's Museum at Navy Pier. Okay.
Well done.
How you doing, everyone? This is Alderman Walter Burnett. Welcome back to Network 27. We over here where the kids have fun and learn things at the Children's Museum at Navy Pier. First of all, I want to thank everyone who came to our annual Say in School picnic. I hope everybody had a good time. I'd like to thank all of the volunteers, Soul City Church, Comcast, United Center, ComEd, Exelon, everyone, just everyone who volunteered. Neighbors of River West, all of the businesses, everyone who contributed. All the kids got school supplies and seniors ate well, played bingo. Everyone had a good time. Rides, it was fantastic. I'd like to also thank Chicago Neighbors United, Jesse White, Ken Duncan, Patricia Watkins, Danny Davis, Robert Steele, and Larry Rogers for all of their support. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have joined with me Diane Gibson. Diane is the coordinator, Community Programs Project Coordinator for the Children's Museum. We want to thank you very much for coming on. As you all can see, we are on site at the Children's Museum. There's actually some young people in the back. We're here in the circus section right here. You saw I just got done lifting some weights. Look at this, 2 fingers, guys. I'm getting stronger and stronger every day doing heavy lifting, but there's a lot of fun here. Diane is going to tell us about the Children's Museum, and then we're going to do some rows throughout the place so you can see some of the great things that's going on. So Diane, why don't you first of all tell us about yourself and tell us about the Children's Museum.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Walter Burnett, for coming to Chicago Children's Museum. We really do appreciate your time and coming to showcase the museum for all Chicago's children. Again, my name is Diane Gibson, and I am Community Programs Manager, which means I develop relationships with community organizations, schools, faith-based organizations, what have you, throughout the city of Chicago. We develop relationships to create awareness of Chicago Children's Museum's programs and resources, and also to provide access to children and families who would not otherwise be able to afford to come to Chicago Children's Museum.
Fantastic. So how long has the Children's Museum been here, Diane?
Chicago Children's Museum has been in existence since 1983.
Wow.
And our first home was at the Cultural Center down in Michigan and Randolph. And we have since had 3 homes, and this is our final home here, destination here at Navy Pier. We're very proud to be here and providing services and educational programs for kids here.
So does it cost to come to the Children's Museum?
It does cost to come to Chicago Children's Museum. The admission per person is $14 for children 1 and over, and for seniors it's also $12. But we also have access programs for families who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. Our Thursday nights, 5 to 8 p.m. are free for all. Thursday nights from 5 to 8 p.m. We're free to all. That includes for individual families and also for groups who would like to visit Chicago Children's Museum. We're also free on first Sundays of the month, every first Sunday, for children from 15 years and younger.
Wow.
But adults would have to pay.
Every first Sunday.
Every first Sunday. Through the Chicago Public Library system, families can check out what's called a museum passport. And that pass allows, I believe, 4 people per visit. And the museum passport can be used here at Chicago Children's Museum anytime that we're open.
That's great. So Diane, so I see this display, and I've been in this room before. I think the last time we interviewed, you all had a display with a connection with kids from Mexico years ago.
Yes.
And they were showing some of their art and other things from their culture to share with young people here in Chicago.
Yes.
But I see this display is a unique display because it like shows a kid can run away and join the circus, right?
Yes, they can.
And they can do all of these things. They can play with all of these things, and be a clown, be a I don't know what you call it, a lion tamer. Do all of those things. I would do my flips, but I don't have on my Jesse White tumbling team outfit. But so they can come here, and I see they got the thing you can jump through. I saw some young people over there walking on the tightrope, and so they can really come here and be creative and imitate some of the things that they see at the circus.
This exhibit space is our Crown Workshop space, and this is a temporary exhibit space. So exhibits are come through here every 6 months. Many of the exhibits here are developed by museum staff, and some are purchased, but on the most part, these exhibits are developed by museum staff. In Circus Circus, yes, kids become the performers, and kids are the star of the show. So we have places where parents can sit and just watch their kid just become entertainers, or parents can also get involved and play with their children. This is a really fun space to really engage and really have fun and take your mind to the limits of what you can be and what you can do, like lifting 3,000 tons of weight that you didn't know that you could lift before.
Yeah, man. Woo, I'm gonna need to get in some Epsom salt after this, man.
Yeah,
I tell you,
right.
that's a lot of weight. So that's fantastic. So this is just one display.
Yes.
So out there, beyond these walls, you have a myriad of things. So why don't you tell me about some of the other displays that you have?
Okay, Alderman. Beyond these walls, all of our exhibits, our permanent exhibits, they are aligned with Illinois and core state learning and national learning standards.
So these things are to help young people learn.
Yes, sir. They're here to help people learn, but to have fun.
Have fun learning.
While they're learning.
Fantastic.
While they're learning. We have an exhibit called the All State Presents Play It Safe. It's all about fire safety in the home. Oh God, should I go through all the exhibits?
Please, as many as you can.
Okay. We have a climbing schooner where kids can pretend that they're on the high seas climbing the schooner and going up to the bird's nest and taking the challenge of climbing up ropes. It's a very challenging situation. We allow children 5 and older for that exhibit, although some children who are younger and are very adept physically, we let them climb the ropes. But it's a very challenging situation where children have to really challenge themselves to be able to climb high and to be able to cross over with nothing under them but rope.
Wow.
That's our climbing schooner.
Okay.
Okay, then we have our waterways exhibit, which teaches children all about the science of water and how we use water in our homes, in the communities, in art. So many ways that children can use and play and discover how water is used. We also have an exhibit called Dinosaur Expedition. The dinosaur that you see when you're coming in to the museum is our Suchomimus, which was discovered by Dr. Paul Sereno and Dr. Gabriel Lyon from the University of Chicago in the Sudan and Africa.
Wow.
It was the first dinosaur that was discovered that has a bill like a crocodile. And so we get to feature that dinosaur here, and we developed an exhibit around that. So there's a dino pit where children can dig and excavate dinosaur bones and learn all about excavation and what it takes to go on an expedition in the desert looking for dinosaur bones. Mm-hmm. We also have Michael's Museum of Curious Treasures. Michael Horowitz is a collector of small treasures. We have his personal collection here. This collection lends itself to many math activities that children can do, learning about collections. Children feel free to have fun whomever is in the exhibit.
I know, they thought that the camera stuff was part of the museum.
Oh,
well,
that's
playing
great.
with the camera stuff.
So Michael's Museum of Curious Treasures. There's many items in that exhibit that are very nostalgic for us as baby boomers. And then when parents come and children come, they count in the exhibit, they sort. There's lots of math going on in the exhibit. Then we also have an exhibit called Tinkering Lab. That's our newest permanent exhibit. It's all about tinkering fun. If you like to use hammers, nails, drills, saws, that is the place to be.
So they're not real though, are they?
They're very real.
Are they real?
Real tools, real
tools.
experiences.
Oh my God.
Yes, yes. Some parents have never used a saw or a drill or a screwdriver. This exhibit allows that to happen here and with their children. That exhibit is always supervised. There's always someone in the exhibit to supervise the experience, and also safety is always first in that exhibit. Then we have the Big Backyard. Big Backyard is an experience where children are miniaturized. They're miniaturized. They can climb into a giant shoe. There's a textural experience there. There's giant flowers. There's a butterfly garden, and there's a rain wall. So there's experiences for children to really experience nature. Then we have two exhibits that are especially for kids that are 5 and under. Treehouse Trails, an exhibit all about nature.
All about nature.
It's all about nature. So we have a log cabin in that exhibit. We have climbing wall. We have a place where children can camp out, and there's fake fire. There's a pond where children can fish. There's also a place where kids can plant a garden and a turtle's home. There's also an area in Treehouse Trails where kids can develop.
A turtle's home.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought turtles stayed in their shell, no?
There are shells that children can wear and become turtles.
Oh, okay.
So here, the sky's the limit.
Okay, okay.
So there's their turtle's home, so kids can go into a cavern where turtles may live, and then they can put on a turtle shell and become the turtle themselves.
So they can pretend to be a turtle.
They can pretend
Wow.
to be a turtle.
That's great.
Yes, yes. And also in Treehouse Trails, we have an area where children can really exercise their large muscles. We have a full-fledged art studio.
Is that right?
It's called Craft Artabound Studio and Exhibit Space. So for the Artabound Studio, we do have artists to come in, and they teach art, visual arts. They teach paper making, they do painting, they do sculpting. So real arts for real kids. We invite parents to also engage with their children to do the arts. Sometimes we do programs, art programs out in the community, and bring the children's art to the museum and display it here. So there's an exhibit there, is pinwheel art that children have done about Ferris wheels, and it's a collage, and it's been on display for a while.
So hold on, before you continue on, so tell me, how do you partner with organizations out in the community? What do you do to partner with them?
The way we partner with organizations is generally cold calls. We look up, I do research on an organization and community. So for my particular job is to work with organizations, schools, and communities that service low-income children and families. So I research those organizations and schools, reach out to them, let them know who we are, where we are, and develop and schedule a meeting with the directors or the principals, and come out and talk about our resources for families.
And then you tell them about your resources for families, then you give them an opportunity to come here?
Oh yes.
So are they able to come for free?
It depends.
What about buses?
Buses, for not-for-profit organizations serving low-income children and families, we do provide buses throughout the year from October through June.
Okay.
October through June.
So you do provide buses for non-for-profit organizations?
That is serving low-income children and families.
Low-income.
And also for schools that service 80% or more children that receive free or reduced meals.
Is that right?
That's right.
That's great. Do many schools take advantage of it?
Many schools do.
Oh, that's great.
And those opportunities are limited. So we encourage schools, especially in your ward, to get on board and to go online to apply for a field trip. They can do it now, even if they know their field trip will be in November or December. This will be the time to apply.
In August.
They apply now.
In September, right.
Right.
Great.
And that I can give you the web address, which would be www.ccmfieldtrips.org.
Now, see, and I'm trying to remember because my son is 18 now.
Yes.
We brought him here when he was a child. We've taken some of our grandkids here. And I'm trying to remember some of the things that I saw that may not still be here. I remember there's a water thing that went around and you had to play with some things in the water.
That would be in our waterways exhibit.
And is that still here?
The waterways exhibit is a permanent exhibit, yes.
Okay.
It's still here.
Which is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It teaches children about the movement of water because there are locks and chutes, just like the Chicago River has locks that manage how water is let in and out of the river, and also to let boats in and out through the river. So the waterways exhibit has locks, it has boats, it has a painting wall now, which probably wasn't there when your son was here 13 or 14 years ago. But there's a wall where you can paint on stone with water.
Is that right? You can paint with water?
With water.
Oh, that sounds like
stone.
fun. See, all this stuff, looking at all these kids make me wish I was a kid again.
Well, you can always come back to the Chicago Children's Museum and play.
Can I play?
Play is not just for children. We need to play as well.
Is
and
that
speaking
right?
of that, I mentioned earlier that we do a presentation on the importance of play. And we do that for adults. We do it for teen parents, grandparents, foster parents, teachers, fathers, for all of those populations that have children and raising children. And it's an inspirational presentation on the importance of play and why play is important. Why was it important for this little girl to come by and pick up those weights? She had to play with those, even though they were here and seemed to be occupied with where we are, but her goal was to play with that weight. So she just came and took them and played with those weights and did what she needed to do with them. So play is really important for children's social development, their emotional growth, their physical growth, of course. You get a lot of that in the Circus exhibit where we're in. And also for their cognitive learning. So children are really learning how to learn when they play. They learn mathematics, they learn science, they learn about history, they learn about themselves. They learn what they can do, how they can do it, and what their limits are and how they can test those limits to really become even better at what they do. So play, we believe in the importance of play, the impact of play, and always are advocating with parents and caregivers about play and bringing children to the museum to really experience play in many ways through our different exhibits.
So I recall at one time you all had a sort of a competition for different communities with art.
You remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
That was about the year 1999 or 2000.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't a competition. We don't do competition because everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner.
Here at the Chicago Children's Museum. But what it was a quilt project that I actually started. And in this temporary exhibit, we were in 5 different communities. In North Lawndale, in Robert Taylor, Cabrini Green. Oh, I forget the other 2, it was a long time ago.
I think West Humboldt Park.
Humboldt Park.
Yeah.
And we provided materials, the background material to make a quilt. And we asked the communities to do a community quilt, and we displayed them here in this exhibit. And so during African American History Month, then we brought those families down to see their quilts in the museum. And so we had a North Lawndale night. We had a Humboldt night. We had a Robert Taylor night, because that's where the quilts had come from. So they came to see their quilts on display and also to just have fun in the museum.
Fantastic. So you create a lot of things for young people to have fun, but for them to learn also.
Yes.
And do a lot of the schools, a lot of the teachers do they understand you all's method of learning or method of teaching and enhancing those cognitive skills and other things that you're trying to enhance?
That's funny you should say that, because sometimes I believe that, no, I don't believe that teachers really realize the importance of what we have to offer and how that would encourage children to do better in school, to do better at math, to do better at reading, because they read while they're here. There's signs everywhere that children can read. There's science that they're being engaged in the science exhibit, in the water exhibit, in the dinosaur exhibit. There's ways that children can really explore science and math concepts, but they don't know that they're exploring them. We have, it's not up now, but it's a games exhibit. We have dominoes. Dominoes is an excellent way for children to learn math, to add, subtract, not only to set them up and knock them down, but to learn math. So there's lots of math concepts, science concepts, literacy throughout the museum. And it's all informal learning. And children really remember those things.
So have you all ever thought about just bringing all of the teachers in and taking them on a tour?
We think about that all the time. We have
and I know you
educators.
Go ahead.
We have adult field trips where teachers can just come as a group and learn and see children at play and see the learning that takes place when they're playing.
That's great.
So adult field trips. We also have a program, it's called Playing with Numbers, and that's a funded program for teachers throughout the city of Chicago for kindergarten and first grade teachers. It's free to the schools. There's a sign-up process where it's an application process where teachers apply online. And I'm sorry, it's not online. They do apply for Playing with Numbers, and it's all about math. It's a professional development for educators. And educators come here, and our staff also goes to the schools to do the PD. At the end of the professional development program, teachers bring their classrooms here and they find the math elements in the exhibits to focus their children in.
So I think we picked one of the best rooms in the place, man. These kids been in here for a while. They haven't left yet.
They don't leave this exhibit.
This is a great exhibit.
We have lots of member families that come to the museum.
So families can become members. What do they do? Get a discount?
For families that are a part of not-for-profit organizations and low-income communities, we have certain organizations that we partner with that we offer our community family membership program to. If someone would like to know which organizations, they can give me a call and I can give the organizations.
So what's your number, Diane?
My direct number is 312-464
Look at those pens.
7701. You can't help but laugh and have a good time when you see kids having a good time here and really testing themselves and seeing what they can do, like behind you, the climber on the So you build courage, emotions, self-esteem. Lots of things happen here at the museum. Curiosity, discovering about yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. So where they're unsure about something, they really get to test that limit here.
And you see some cooperation too.
Lots of teamwork happen.
Teamwork, yeah.
In our Skyline exhibit, which is right above this exhibit.
Okay.
Lots of teamwork happens.
So what is the Skyline exhibit?
Skyline exhibit is all about building. We use screws and bolts and nut drivers. Kids wear goggles to protect themselves if they need it. But it's all about building structures. That exhibit is excellent for families to engage. It's excellent for families to build together. It's excellent for schools when you want to build teamwork within your classrooms with children that work together. Children can also build a structure and be videotaped at the same time. And when they go back to their own computers, they can pull that up on their computers to see themselves at work in the exhibit.
That's
So
great.
it's really, really an exciting time. here in the museum.
Now, didn't you have like some mirrors? Do you have mirrors here? No? Maybe I'm thinking about the circus. What about, now I know there was a, in the middle of here, now as I said, I haven't been for years, but in the middle of here, there was an area where kids can like climb and go through the tunnels on the ropes and all of those things?
That's our schooner. That's our water schooner.
That's your water schooner?
Yeah, it's called climbing schooner. Yes, that's where the ropes are, where they
it's
really
sort
get
of
to
like
test.
a jungle gym.
It's something like that. But the rope is, every square is about maybe 3 or 4 inches apart. And so the rope stands about as high as its ceiling, which is about, 15 feet up in the air. So kids are crossing a rope with nothing under them but their parents looking up and taking pictures.
Now, do you have parties here? Do people have parties here?
We generally don't have parties here.
Oh, they can't rent it for like...
We, on special
occasions.
occasions.
Some people eat here, don't they?
We don't have eating facilities in the museum, but the Navy Pier is a public space, and the Crystal Garden, which is right across from the admission of the museum, is an excellent space for children and families to have their lunches, because it's a green space. It's a green garden
so
space.
So people can come and then they can make arrangements so that their group can eat.
Yes.
So I know McDonald's is downstairs and many other restaurants.
There's a food court downstairs. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Fantastic. And so your hours here is what?
The museum is open every day except Christmas and Thanksgiving. And our summer hours are extended from 10 to 6 p.m., but generally through the school year, we're open from 10 to 5. Also, as mentioned, every Thursday night, we're free 5 to 8. So that's our extended hours on every Thursday night. And we're, like I say, we're only closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, you only close on Thanksgiving?
Only closed Thanksgiving.
So you open
and
every other day?
We're open every
Are you
school
open on
holiday.
Sundays?
We're open Sundays.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. We're open.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the strong guy behind us.
Yeah, he's strong.
We're open school holidays, which will be a perfect time for organizations to bring children down, churches to bring children down. They can come down on
So churches
Sundays.
can bring children down too?
Children and families.
So it can be a church event also?
It can be a church event.
That's fantastic.
Our ratio is 1 adult for every 5 children.
1 to 5.
Adult to every 5 children.
Yeah, and I see some parents are into it.
Parents are engaged.
Some are engaged, and some are like, okay, what's next?
For some parents, and being involved with the children is very important.
It is.
When parents bring their children to Chicago Children's Museum, they learn what their children's interests are. We have 12 permanent exhibits here around math, around science and collections, dinosaurs, nature, the city, water, an art exhibit about fire safety. So there are many areas where parents can learn what their children's interests are. Then they extend that learning through their homes. They buy books based on the children's interests. They can buy toys based on their children's interests. They can choose television programs based on their children's interests, all because children talk about what they did here at the museum, what their favorite areas are, what their favorite thing to do at the Children's Museum.
That's great. It looks like they're just having so much fun.
It's super fun.
They're just tickling me to death, I tell you.
I know, you can't help but smile and watch the fun happen.
Yeah,
and then if you're really observant, watch the learning that's happening. Watch how children are taking turns, how they're being respectful of other children. There's not a toy, there's not a weight, a 3,000-ton weight for every child, but there's a way children can take turns.
That's right.
If they have difficulty in that social activity, then it's a time for them to, when parents tell them, well, when Johnny is done with the weight, then you can play with it. And then a child develops patience. Like I said, it's informal learning, it's fun learning, it's engagement, it's parent and family engagement, parent and family enrichment. This is an excellent place. I know that you deal with fathers programs, fathers who care, and other fathers program. There's the program with the Urban League fathers programs. This is an excellent place for fathers who are trying to connect to their children. Informally, they can see what their children like to do and play with them in those areas. It's a really good place for fathers who are kind of distant from the family, and they want to really reunite with their children in different ways. This is an excellent place for grandparents who are raising their grandchildren. Like you said, some parents are not really into it, and some are. Some grandparents, they're tired, but all day long they have children. They bring them here, they can sit back and just let their children have fun.
That's right.
And so the children would have a great time. They go home, it's a meet new friends, it's a memorable experience for them, and they really, the grandparent become a favorite. Well, grandmama or granddaddy brought me to the museum, to the Children's Museum in Navy Pier, so they become favorites.
And they develop some fond memories also.
Yes.
Of when they were with their parents.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
my son remembers when we brought him here on several occasions. My wife would come all the time. I wasn't able to make it all the time, but he remembered those moments.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I think I had to go help him get out of that jungle gym before.
Oh, the schooner?
I had to help them get out of the schooner. You know, so every once in a while they get stuck, you know, or get scared.
They get scared.
And you have to, he don't want to admit that now he's 18 years old, but you know, I just had to help him get out of that.
But you build on that courage. They get scared the first time, but then you see them come through and they run right back to do it again.
Right.
That's what we love to see.
And that's exactly what he did.
That's
he
what we
went
love
right
to see.
back to do it again.
Right.
It's fantastic. So this is very nice, very good for the kids, very entertaining.
I should also mention that we have a Pritzker play space. This is a dedicated space for children who are toddlers, infants, babies, and there are special programs, tactile programs for children in this space. So even children of the youngest age can have a good experience here. We like to encourage young parents. There are many teen parents with the young children to bring their children here, because children as young as 3 months, 4 months, they are learning. They're learning from birth.
Right.
I shouldn't say that, but when they're 3, 4 months, they are aware. They are aware of their surroundings. And up to 2, 3 years, they are learning so much. And in our Pritzker play space, they learn about water, they play with sand, they play in beans and rice. There's many tactile experiences that they can have in that space. And it's all very purposeful activity that we engage the children. And parents really enjoy theirs. There's comfortable seating in there, rocking chairs that parents can sit on, comfortable pillows that they can sit on the floor with their children and play with their children.
So I know that, I recall seeing a space here where you had a bunch of tables and chairs. And it was like an open RC space where...
that's our Artabound studio.
Artabound, okay, yeah.
Studio,
See,
yes.
All this stuff is coming back to me.
Yes, it's all coming back. That's good. That's good. You have to come back and play yourself.
Yeah, I do, man. It's a lot of fun. Maybe I come with my grandson. He's 3 years old.
Perfect.
So that'll give me an excuse to play without people saying, what's wrong with that old guy right there?
Oh, no. We won't say that. We won't say that. But for families who'd like to come, when I give presentations in the community about the importance of play, I do give free family passes to each participant. Yes. When we talk about play, that's okay to talk about it, but let's prove it. Where's the pudding? So come to Chicago Children's Museum with your free pass. Each pass allows 4 people, and the value is $56 per pass.
Wow. So you get those away free.
We would give those away free to when I give presentations in the community, when I do orientations at schools to principals and their teachers, at LSC meetings, at PAC meetings. We do give those passes away because we do believe that some families can't afford the $14 per person to get into the museum.
That's right.
So we want to make it accessible.
So you want to help folks. So if a group of people wanted you to come out,
yes,
speak to them,
yes,
and tell them about what you have to offer here at the museum, what would they do?
They call me at 312, Diane Gibson at 312-464-7701, and just tell me where they're located, and I can get them on the schedule I'll come out and do an orientation. I do field trip presentations for teachers and at schools. I do the Let's Play presentation, which talks about the impact and importance of play for children as well as for adults. That's pretty much the presentations, and the presentations are free. They're free of charge. We don't charge for those.
Hey, how much is the ice cream?
Helados.
How much? What do you got good? What do you have good over there? Can I have a cone? A cone?
This is so real. Children see
fantastic.
ice
Thank you
cream
very
vendors
much.
on the street. Do you have rainbow?
Yummy,
Oh,
yummy.
that's what I was thinking of,
Oh,
the rainbow
wow.
cone.
Thank you, Mr. Ice
Yummy.
Cream Man.
Thank you. How much do we owe you? Oh, thank you
it's
so
free
much.
today. Wow,
You're so generous.
Wow, we got to come back to your ice cream cart.
So you see simple things. We also encourage schools and organizations to take a look at what we do. This is all repurposed materials. It's probably what, a juggling ball?
Recycle.
Recycled, and you know what these are?
Oh.
These are cones that once had yarn on them.
Oh, wow.
This is recycled material. So a lot of what we have is repurposed materials, because the museum is a not-for-profit organization, and we try to save and
tell
utilize
me this. So how do you all raise money? I mean, besides the people paying to come in?
memberships, funders.
Funders. So the
Yes,
funders help
yes.
you subsidize the low-income folks.
Yes, we have different funders.
So
and
do you have
corporate.
fundraisers?
We do have a gala. It's in November of every year, the first Saturday in November. So yes, we do invite partners to
So
come
if
out
people
to
wanted to donate to the Children's Museum, those of us who've been around for all these years,
Yes.
what do we do?
You call the general number at 312-527-1000 and ask for the development department.
And is that donation tax deductible?
Yes, it is.
So
Tax
you-
deductible. Corporations can also become a corporate member.
And real quick, Diane, not to cut you off. So you all were talking about moving at one time to Millennium Park. That didn't go through. So are you going to stay here?
Actually, that did go through.
It did go through.
We did have support of the council. But yeah, we decided to stay here at Chicago Children's Museum because we know that Navy Pier is a world-class venue
Are you going to
for
expand
families.
here?
And we are going to expand exhibits.
You're going to expand?
We're in the process of expanding now. We are looking at possibly doubling our space at the museum.
So the museum is going to be bigger and better?
It's going to be.
How much more fun can the kids have? Oh my God.
They can have much more fun. They can have fun now, and they can have fun later when the museum is repurposed.
Well, I know the parents are happy that they can come here, they can play, they can get wore out, and they can go home and go to sleep.
It's good for that too. Yeah.
And they can learn. So this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Well, Diane, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you
so
for
much.
inviting me back to the museum. We want to thank all of you guys. Say bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you guys for joining us on Network 27. We want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on Network 27. I'm Alderman Walter Burnett. I'm here with Diane Gibson from the Children's Museum, and these are all of our clowns and acrobats from the circus at the Children's Museum. At Navy Pier. Have a good day. Yum, 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 yum. Bye.